Hey everyone, it is I, Dr. Sanchez, here with my brother Aaron Vera, here for another episode of Bro Talk. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Today we're going to be speaking about law number 5 and 6 from the book The 48 Laws of Power. It's a phenomenal read. If you haven't, please go buy a copy. And we're just going to have another conversation on these two laws. We're going to challenge it. We have certain uncertainties, some things that we do agree on, and we're just going to have a conversation. So come join us, come listen in, and please, if you haven't, like this video, subscribe to our channel. Any questions or comments, leave it down below. We'll get to them. We would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and come join our convo.
All right. Back to this book, The 48
Yes.
Laws of Power. It's starting to become my favorite book because every chapter, every law that I read just becomes more and more compelling every time.
Okay.
So we're now on Law 5. And Law 5 is so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. The judgment just says reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and it will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert to potential attacks and thwart them before they happen. Meanwhile, learn to destroy your enemies by opening holes in their own reputations. Then stand aside and let public opinion hang them.
Yes. Okay.
This is a very interesting chapter, right? Because it focuses on a lot on reputation, and reputation is how other people view you, or what have you built up. The build up view of others basically is what reputation is, right? um and in this chapter, it's very interesting how he starts off. When he talks about the observance of the law, he starts off with like the intimidation tactic.
Yes.
And well, he gives the story of this guy called 𝗬𝗂𝗽𝗂𝗃, and many people feared him. And even in moments of where he knew he was going to get defeat, he never showed any type of fear. As a matter of fact, he showed some uh, a tactic that would show some type of intimidation, um, where he wasn't scared in a sense of what was coming. And I believe in the story it talks about how uh, there was a war and they were gonna like come and get him, but he let the gates open and he was just singing and chanting and very visible out to the enemy, where the enemy ended up approaching the gates, but viewing and seeing that there's potentially some danger. And like he already had a reputation of not only being a great warrior, but having a great army, people were scared to like attack him, which led actually to a lot of them retreating, to the whole army retreating. So even in the fear of failure, in the fear of defeat, in a sense, his reputation gained him the win. So I I find it very fascinating with this story just because it talks about how his reputation struck fear into the enemy. And I mean, we could apply it to so many things in life. When you know somebody has a reputation of doing something, you tend to think twice before you take that step, just because of maybe stories you've heard, or maybe experiences that you've had with that person. And I believe, and this is the part where I can have like a little bit of a disagreement with the author, where in a sense where I see reputation as very important because that is the view of how others view you. But at the same time, I see character more important than reputation, because we also, I don't want to dive so deep into it yet, because I also want you to give your part. But reputation is what others see from us, while character is who we actually are.
Okay. What?
Right?
Okay. I think. Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Don't you think they go hand in hand though? Like
I
the
believe
character
they
and reputation?
I believe they go hand in hand, but it's like and I don't want to jump too much, but
Okay.
in the second observance of the law, there's
Mm-hmm.
another story that talks about how he was supposed to make a deal with a museum on how he was supposed to get paintings, right? But that ended up going down, which caused him to want to damage the reputation of the person that took that deal out of him,
Yeah, the cell of the museum. Yeah.
the sell of the museum, right? That being said, not always your reputation can actually match your character, right? Someone
Mm-hmm.
else can damage your reputation deliberately, like this person did,
Mm-hmm.
Barnum,
Yeah, P.T. Barnum. Yeah.
P.T. Barnum, but that doesn't mean that this is who you actually are. That's just the representation of what others see of you.
You're saying the reputation, correct?
Yes.
So,
They're
yeah.
different. They're different, but they go hand in hand. But one is still more important than the other.
So your disagreement is, are you saying that the law should focus more on character or reputation, or are you trying to say something else?
um, we live in a society in a sense that
Mm-hmm.
you tend to not care about what other people think, but at the same time, society cares about what they see of you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what develops your reputation. But if you are comfortable or okay with society seeing you a certain way, then it shouldn't matter your reputation because that's not who you actually are, no matter how they interpret you to be.
Got you. Okay,
Because
so
your character is different. And
and you're saying more
obviously,
important.
and more important, and to get to know some, obviously, to have more of a definition of a reputation, you have to really get to know somebody's
Mm-hmm.
character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's not this is why I understand the author, because that's not the case with all people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you will not get to know everybody and get to really like know them, so you really have to depend on your reputation, because I guess a reputation is just like a pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
whatever I see from that pattern is what I'm going to get from you, but that might necessarily not be it.
Mm-hmm. So
uh,
no, I see what you're saying. You're
mhm,
basically saying, and tell me if I got it right or wrong, because I think he does mention something about this that you're talking about. You're basically
mhm,
saying that, listen, at the end of the day, character is more important, but the only way to really get to know someone's character is by truly getting to know them. But reputation is what we have to show the outside world. But at the end, yes, they may go hand in hand, but at the end of the day, character is the more important one. And if you have a reputation, even though that's not you per se, but if you don't care, because it doesn't. But if you don't care, then whatever. Because what matters more at the end of the day is character. Is that
right.
what you're saying?
Yes, and at the end of the day, it can also be flipped in a sense where like your reputation can be a nice guy, but your character is actually an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it could play vice versa, where like you protect your reputation so much, and this is how other people view you at such a light, but your actual true character, who you are, is full
Mm-hmm.
of darkness in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I believe they go hand in hand. It's just more important to protect who you actually are,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that will display a lot, or into that will display a lot towards the outside world,
Mm-hmm.
and will develop your reputation.
Based on your external character, is that what you're saying? Your character, correct?
Right, because like you could say an external character is like a reputation, while an
Mm-hmm.
internal character is more of like who you actually are.
When you say character, are you talking about like a trait? Are you talking about what are you talking about
When I say
specifically?
character, I mean who you actually are, like your traits,
Okay.
um, like who you actually are inside. Are you actually a
Like
generous
honest,
person? Are you
moral, like
actually an
that.
honest, moral person? What do you follow and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
While your reputation only really shows what you let the outside world see.
Gotcha. Or it could also be who you truly are, which you
It
which you
can,
kind of acknowledge
right?
that already.
Yeah,
Okay. I definitely understand with what you're saying. But I think the author answers that question kind of in the same chapter actually.
really. Where?
For example, if you go to so for example, in page 30, where is this? Page 30, where is it? Sorry, page 40. At the
Okay.
bottom of page 40, where it says keys to power, which for
Yeah,
me actually I thought was the most fascinating part. Because here in the keys to power in this paragraph at the bottom of page 40, right? He
yeah,
basically
me.
says how like we as humans, because we're actually never going to know most of our friends inside completely, we as humans, we base a lot of judgment, or we will judge someone, or we will see someone a certain way, or kind of like see their reputation by the external, by what's outside. Because first of all, we're not mind readers, we can't really see inside the heart or the mind, right? But also
Yeah, it's impossible to judge somebody.
but it says in the social realm, appearances are the barometer of almost all of our judgments, and you must never be misled into believing otherwise. One false slip, one awkward or sudden change in your appearance can prove disastrous. And actually, I was doing some research on this component, because what he's basically saying here is that we as humans, we're going to judge you based on what we see. Either if it's how you dress, your posture, are you nervous, are you introverted, extroverted? Because those things you can see externally, right? By your body language, your tone, we can hear it. We can see these things, right? But we are not, because we can accurately predict these external things, these very superficial things. What we cannot accurately predict are, as what you were saying, like deep character traits, your morality, how honest you are, and so forth, right? You might build a reputation on that based on, as you mentioned, on past experiences or stories that you probably heard about the person. Now what's fascinating is that is that in nature and us as humans, right? We humans and animals, we rely on visible signs, right? Because when we see a signal, when we see
Hmm.
something, that just gives us the sign, like, oh, this means this. Because we as humans, we like to interpret. We like to know what's happening, right? Because humans can get very paranoid, and we don't like to be uncertain.
Right.
We like to get rid of doubt, right? So, because truth is hidden within us, so a lot of times people will default to judging a visible sign. And I was reading this other thing called the halo effect, where it's like if someone
Yeah.
sees you as good in one area externally,
Hmm.
like if they see you as a confident person or good looking, right? They will transfer the things that they see as good externally, and they'll transfer that to other parts about you, right? And your reputation can get inflated in a good way. It can also be in a bad way as well, right? So like
Hmm.
the author is saying, really, he really is saying like I think the reason he's putting so much emphasis on reputation is because this is probably one of the first things people will look at and will realize. Because as you mentioned, it's gonna be very hard for a lot of people to get to know you, especially if you become wealthier or more famous or you got a big family. Like not everyone can get to know you, so they have to rely on something, right?
Hmm.
So the reputation is going to be that. And the last thing about I would say about what you said on page 43, the last paragraph, reversal, he also mentioned something that you kind of hinted at. He wrote that, for example, not caring what others think about you, you gain a reputation for arrogance and insolence, but that can be a valuable image in itself. So, like, and this is something that I definitely have to work on as well, where it's like
Hmm.
he says, you not caring what your reputation is, you're gonna come out as arrogant because people are gonna look at you and say, oh, he doesn't care because he thinks he's all that, yada yada. Now he does give an example here, but this example is very extreme. Who was Oscar Wilde, who's a famous poet and stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe if you fall under that degree, maybe that not caring and mysterious angle can help you, but it looks like he's saying here that We live in a society and we must depend on the opinion of others. There's nothing to be gained by neglecting your reputation. By not caring how you are perceived, you let others decide this for you. Be the master of your fate and also of your reputation. So even he's saying, try to avoid this attitude of not caring, right? So
Mm-hmm.
does that kind of answer what you were saying, or no?
I mean, yes, like I see his point, right? Especially in the
Yeah,
reversal part where it says you could be seen as insolence and arrogance, and by neglecting your own reputation, you're letting others decide for you,
which is true.
which is true. I guess it would just have to be a case per case matter where like you care your reputation towards people or important people that can make an impact off your life, not just anybody in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Because like someone could deliberately try to damage your reputation, and especially if you have, let's say you're more popular than them and they have and he also talks about it in the chapter,
Correct.
when you have less to lose and you have more to lose, your reputation matters more when you have more to lose, because this person this person is not known that is trying to damage your character.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, there's a lot to lose versus that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but when it comes to like insignificant people that try to
Mm-hmm.
damage your reputation, I don't feel that it is important to care so much in
Mm-hmm.
those cases and try to gain your reputation back just because this person has deliberately tried to bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like more, don't feed into it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put fuel into the fire that they're trying to create, uh that could put you down, because just ignore it in a sense. Because I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like a bully could bully you so much, but if you ignore it so much, it's going to come to the point where the bully stops because you give them
Maybe, not always.
uh y- yes, I believe in most cases.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe like if you ignore,
Mm-hmm.
um sorry, I just lost my train of thought. um if you ignore, then this insignificant person trying to develop a bad reputation for you, it's gonna like, that reputation is gonna dwindle in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. But if you feed uh like if you feed it fuel into this continuous fire that someone's trying to damage your reputation, it's like I don't think it's worth it,
Mm-hmm.
because it also puts a sense of doubt, and that's what he also mentions in the interpretation of the afterwards of the two observance of the law. He
Mm-hmm.
mentions it in page 40, where in interpretation, line 3, it says,
Mm-hmm.
doubt is a powerful weapon. Once you let it out of the bag with insidious rumors, your opponents are in a horrible dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, one of the hand, they can deny the rumors, even prove that you have slandered them, but a later suspicion will remain. Why are they defending themselves so desperately? Maybe the rumor has some truth to it. If, on the other hand, they take the high road and ignore you, the doubts unrefuted will be even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I that's why I said, if you start to defend or put any type of doubt into what someone deliberately is trying to damage your reputation and what they're putting out there, sometimes feeding into it could make you, like he says, it can make you view as insecure, or
Mm-hmm.
as you don't want people to know, therefore you want to defend it, therefore you want to put the fire down when it can actually be true.
Mm-hmm.
um so I guess it depends, and maybe I'm also basing this off like subjective personal experiences of mine,
Mm-hmm.
where like insignificant people that hold in no type of power or no type of influence try to damage my reputation in front of others that did,
Mm-hmm.
but by me showing character traits to those people that damaging reputation was able to dwindle down by me not feeding into it.
Mm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, and I think
I
what
don't know
you're
if I talked in circles. I was just trying to explain myself.
no, from what I'm understanding from what you're saying is that if
Mm.
you're basically saying a lot of the times if people are trying to ruin your reputation, like in the story, like how P.T. Barnum, one of his tactics was to ruin the reputation of the directors of Mr.
And he did
Peel.
it twice too.
Yeah, he used, and one of the tactics was to ruin the reputation of Peels, and he did it in many
Yeah.
ways. But you're saying basically a lot of times if people are trying to do that to you, if you are the one who has the bigger reputation, you shouldn't feed into it because then you look desperate and then suspicious, right? And I even think the author says, like, yeah, a lot of the times you don't do that. Like, that's not the best approach. No matter how much evidence you'll show or like you'll disprove it, when it comes to doubt, it's so true. Doubt is a powerful weapon. Once you let it out, it's very hard to put it back in. There's even a quote in the book by Nietzsche, very famous
Mm-hmm.
philosopher, who said it's easier to cope with a bad conscience
I did
than with
see
a
that.
bad
Yes,
reputation, which is crazy. But
I highlighted that. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I'm gonna put that. But basically, because when there's doubt and it gets activated in our brains, it's interesting. Our brains, and this is just basic human psychology,
Mm-hmm.
our brains when we as humans, when we feel like there's a physical danger or a non-physical danger like doubt, like when doubt is introduced into us, our
Mm-hmm.
brains light up, the same areas light up like if you were to see a tiger versus doubt, right? Because our brains can't really tell the difference. And also doubt triggers low grade stress, and once it's on, people actually stop thinking less logically, and they keep scanning for random evidence to prove, oh yeah, this doubt is true, right? Actually, and the University of Michigan, I found a study proved that doubt lights up the brain just like a direct physical threat would do. So I think what he's trying to say here in the book is that most of the time, if people are trying to do this to you, don't feed into it, as you mentioned. There's better ways of doing it, but there will be certain times where if someone's attacking your reputation, you want to definitely address it, but you don't want to come off as like weird about it or like desperate, because desperation really it really pushes people away and it makes you look worse than what it is.
Right. I think it's also. I guess it depends on the severity of the damage of the reputation.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the severity of, let's say, the rumor, right?
Mm.
There's a rumor going on that this person does this and that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the beginning of the damage of your reputation. I guess it depends on where it's coming from, who's it's coming from, and the severity of it, to
Mm-hmm.
either you pay attention to it or not. Either you
Yes.
respond to it or not.
Correct.
Because I've seen a lot of influencers, athletes, famous people that, depending on what is said about them, they respond to it or they don't.
Yes.
There are certain things that aren't worth responding to, because the moment you respond to it, it's like it can inflict some type of doubt. Like you said, oh, why does he
Mm.
have to respond to such a low level person, as an example, right?
That is true. Yes, that is true.
Right. While maybe someone who has a major influence says something negative or spreads a rumor of someone that has a good reputation, and they feel the need
Hmm.
to respond to it, not necessarily maybe even because it um the rumor's bad, but maybe because how influential that person is, right?
Yeah, and actually, what the author says on what you should do is almost what you're saying, plus a caveat. On page 42, he
Mm-hmm.
basically says that reputation is a treasure and should be collected and hoarded. He then says, when you're first establishing it, you must protect it strictly, anticipating all attacks on it.
Where
So,
is it? Sorry.
page
Oh, I
42,
see it. I see it. I got
right?
it.
So basically, as you're getting up there,
Mm.
if anyone throws an attack at you, you try to bring it down or you protect it, right? But then it says once it's solid, Don't get angry or defensive at slanderous comments of your enemies, because it's going to reveal insecurity, which is what you said. No confidence in your reputation. It says take the high road instead and never appear desperate. On the other hand, an attack on another man's reputation is a potent weapon, particularly when you have less power than he does. So this is what you have to do. So it's like once you've made it, and if you haven't made it, they're totally two different answers. And again, he keeps talking about P.T. Barnum. This guy was intense, bro. He was an entertainer, a crazy businessman. He was also very unethical, and he did a lot of
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
yeah.
Actually, there's a movie about him. It's
Oh,
actually
really?
one of my favorite musicals. But in the movie, they don't portray him as a bad guy, like the real guy. You know the movie The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, I think I did watch it.
Yes,
That's him?
that's P.T. Barnum. Yeah, that's
You're
P.
lying.
Well,
Because there was two people going at each other, right?
and The Greatest Showman, it was him.
It was
Uh,
one magician.
no. You're thinking of The Illusionist. That's different.
No.
You're thinking of a different movie.
Oh, the greatest.
Oh no, The Prestige. You're thinking of The Prestige or The Illusionist.
Oh, probably. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely right. Okay.
Now, if you Google The Greatest Showman, I know
Yeah.
did you Google it, The Greatest Showman?
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
But you've never seen that movie, right?
I believe not. No.
So, I mean, I don't think you'll like it as much because it is a musical. I love the music was amazing. The movie wasn't so good, but the music is amazing. But
Mm-hmm.
the main character, Hugh Jackman, who's X-Men, who's Wolverine,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
He plays P.T. Barnum. And in that movie, but they don't portray him
Wow.
as a bad guy actually. In the movie, they don't portray him as the evil or con artist he was. They put him
Mm-hmm.
as a nice guy, but he sings phenomenal and the music is great. But um but in the movie, they also kind of show the character that they mention here in the book, the woman opera singer, um, Jenny Lind. It's here in the book, right?
Yeah,
Because
I did see that name. Yeah.
basically he says that if your reputation got stained or it went down the drain, if you go next to people who have the opposite
Which is so true. Sorry.
100%. I definitely want to hear what you say, but let me end with this.
Yeah.
If
No.
you
Go.
go with the opposite people who have the opposite reputation as you have, and people see you together, right, in public or in pictures or news articles, whatever the case is, people are going to, in their mind, they're going to connect you both like, oh, maybe this person changed and he's a better person now. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt just because they see you with someone else who's on the opposite side. And, um, in the book here, it says that he hired this woman, even though they only worked for a little bit of time, Jenny Lind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he used her to clean up his reputation, and she was this amazing opera singer. And in the movie, they also portray her. Now in the movie, they fall in love, right? And they kind of have like an affair. But in reality, that's not what really happened.
Oh, that's not a true story. Okay.
I mean, in the book it is. In the movie, they kind of change it, but that's what he did. And she was this amazing singer, and she was moral, and she was sweet, opposite of him, and it helped him to kind of go back up. So, yeah, and politicians do this all the time, actors, and so forth. So, yeah.
No, it is true because you even said at the beginning, um, if you are good in one aspect of life or in a certain area of life, and a person gets to know you, they're gonna automatically think that you're good in a lot of other stuff as well. And
Oh, yeah, like if they see one good superficial quality, yes, yes.
yeah, if they see one good superficial quality, they'll start to think, okay, he might have other stuff that are good as well,
Mm-hmm.
without actually really getting to know you, because that is the reputation that you have portrayed out to the public. And
Correct.
it's crazy how not only that applies to yourself, but that also applies with the people you hang out with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just reminded me of you have the five of the some people that hang out with you the most. Not only because you tend to pick up on their traits and their qualities, but if someone from that group or many people from that group carry a certain type of reputation that is portrayed or seen as good out to the public, and you mix in with them, you will eventually, little by little, start to fall into that same group of quote unquote good. Just because not only the bad passes on, it's also the good that passes on as well. And in a sense, what's his name? Barton?
Yeah, P.T.
Barnum?
Barnum.
P.T.
Yeah.
Barnum did was fabulous. Like, to cover himself and his flaws and his dark side, he decided to use someone else that brought him some light, therefore minimizing a lot of what he had done, because he just ended up using someone else's reputation. And therefore, that's why I applied it to like friendships, or people you hang out with, because that will also play an impact on your reputation. Not only what let others see, but other people are going to see who you are with. And that could be in friendships, that could be in relationships. That's why you have to choose your friendships wisely. That's why you have to choose your wife wisely, because those are the people that you're going to hang out with the most, or you're going to see the most. And if they have a bad reputation, then that's also going to pass on to you. Or how can this person, in a sense, you having a good reputation, how can this person be attracted to this girl and she has such a bad reputation around the block, right? So that could start to make you look bad as well.
Yeah.
So I guess no, that's what I was saying. Like, it applies to relationship. I mean, it applies to a whole bunch of stuff, but
yeah,
like,
correct.
just thinking about it like directly to maybe our life, the audience life, it could apply mainly to like friendships, and relationships that you might have. Depending their reputation as well, it can impact yours.
Yeah, I think if people want to use this tactic to their advantage, if you already have a bad reputation for whatever the case is, as you mentioned, if you are then seen with a person or a group of people or a community of people who may have an opposite way of looking or an opposite reputation of what you gained or you lost or whatever the case is, the reason why it's so effective, it's because it's really coming from an emotional level, because as you and I both know, a lot of the times, these things about building a reputation, your perspectives, a lot of the cases, how we develop it or how our people see us is an emotional level, either consciously or subconsciously. So if people see us with the opposite perspective on what we were or what our reputation was, and let's say it got stained, but now people see us with the other ones, they're like, wow, he must have really changed internally, or changed his emotions, or his internal emotional perspective, or he's changed 180 degrees, and now he agrees with my side, whatever that side is, or with this person's side, and I aligned with this person. So clearly this person must have changed, because in order to change your internal emotional perspective is so hard for us to do. But if he did it, that's a good sign. Wow, that's great.
Right.
And it might
But
be
it could just be,
true.
it could be just manipulation too.
Correct. It could just be manipulation, or maybe you agree only a little bit, but not completely. But and to the public's eyes, because we as humans, we're only looking at visible signs, like the tail of a peacock, right? When the peacock shows its colors and its feathers,
Right.
it's telling the female peacocks, I'm ready to mate. We're always looking at visible signs. So us as humans, we're doing the same exact thing in different environments. And I think if people want to do that in their personal lives, kind of use this to your advantage if your reputation tanked already with your family or with other people. So yeah.
So reputation could be very deceiving, basically.
It could be deceiving, it could be contradictory, it could be so many things. Like what was the guy you mentioned at the beginning? From the kingdom, the Chinese kingdom?
The war. 𝗔𝗂𝗽𝗂𝗪.
𝗔𝗂𝗽𝗪. Look, he was known for two things. He was known as a sleeping dragon. He had his exploits, and he was known for his exploits and his tactics in war. But
He had a
he
whole
was,
nickname.
yeah, the sleeping dragon. And he also was known to be actually, it's in the same paragraph. He was actually known to be very compassionate. Where they were about to kill someone, he stopped
Yeah.
in midway and he said, "Listen, if you become a double spy, I'll let you live." Right? So it's like we have this aggressive, conniving man when it comes to war and tactics. but then he has a compassionate side. It's like so contradictory. But that's what makes, if you have a reputation like that, that's what makes you mysterious. People are attracted to you. People don't know what to do with you.
So it
And
makes you sexy.
sexy, yes. The ladies love that. You're like, hey, I'm gonna take you out, but you're gonna pay for everything. But then I'm gonna hug you, but then I'm not gonna call you for. I'm just kidding.
What?
I don't know. I made it up. You see how contradictory all that was?
Yeah, no, but it's like if you say you're gonna do something,
Yeah.
but your action proves the other thing. It's like
Mm,
confusing, mysterious. It's like,
yes.
okay, now I don't know what to think of you because your reputation says something else, but now it's the opposite, right? So it's kind of like confusing.
Or
So
maybe you have two things or two different reputations. Because like I can have a reputation, let's say I don't know, like at my synagogue, but then when I'm somewhere else, I might have another reputation, right?
very true. You can have different reputations in
In
different
different
places you
environments, you
go, which
can.
is yeah. Huh.
Like for example, I'll give you a great example. Do people know that you're a freaking baller and you get aggressive in basketball? Like, do they know this at work?
No, they would have to see me in the courts
They would
to
have to see you there. But I bet you the people
right.
at the courts that usually go play with, when they see you, they're not thinking, Aaron is such a hard worker. He's such a
Or
hard working
or,
super.
or he's a father and
Oh, well, he's so patient and like he does bro talk. He's such an intellectual. Like they don't know that because of the
right.
environment. So you see what I mean?
Yeah. Different environments gives you different reputations depending on like I guess the category of people that you have them in life. One, you might have them for a
Correct.
spiritual sense. One might be a recreational. One might be just work. So you have different reputations everywhere. You have a reputation
Correct.
for your family. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, do you think, and this could be a controversial question,
Go.
some reputations are given and some reputations are earned in a sense where like, well, this is where this is where I would involve a little bit more the outside world, the media,
Mm-hmm.
maybe different ethnic groups of people, different
Mm-hmm.
religions and stuff like that. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think some reputations that these diverse groups
Mm-hmm.
might have, I feel like I might know your answer, I don't know, but do you think some
Mm-hmm.
of them are given because of the control maybe certain platforms have,
Mm-hmm.
or they're earned because of who they show they are?
I think it could be a mix. I think, for example, some reputations are earned because of what you did, and maybe there's evidence to prove it. I also think some reputations are given, sometimes fairly and sometimes unfairly.
Unfairly, yeah.
Because like, what if you took a little, and you've spoken about this before. What if you take a little small piece of content, right? And you took it out of context 10 seconds, and then you
Yeah,
build that reputation of that one person based off 10 seconds. Now they're gonna say, but you did say it. And it is true, he did say it, or she said
right.
it, right? But you're like, but that's not the whole context. You're giving me an unfair reputation. You're not giving my reputation justice because you didn't put the whole picture, right? So a lot of the times, yes, reputations are earned directly or indirectly, but sometimes they're earned unfairly because whoever is building the narrative, the platform, whichever platform we're talking about, whoever's building
Hmm.
the narrative, we all have a biased narrative or a certain way we like to look at something. So you might
Yeah.
take something unfairly. Maybe it was true in that moment. Maybe there is somewhat a truth to it, but you did it unfairly, and it's not fair, and it doesn't apply to everyone. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you always got to be responsible for the things you say
Of course, yeah.
and what you put out there or different groups put out there. And but it is true that it could be unfair or fair depending on if context is included in what you're saying or not.
Yeah, the context, yes. Yeah, 100%. The context, all the details, and nothing was taken out, and there's good evidence to prove that, then it makes sense.
Gotcha.
But
Well,
it kind of connects to law 6, right?
it does 100%. Let
Yeah.
me, if you don't mind, I'll read it.
Go.
There's two parts to this law, but
Yes.
Law 6 is court attention at all costs.
Nice.
The judgment is everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd, then or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all costs. Conspicuous, sorry. Be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses.
Interesting.
And okay, so let me just read, obviously, because there's 2 parts. Let me just read what part 1 says. It says, surround your name with the sensational and scandalous. Draw attention to yourself by creating an unforgettable, even controversial image. Court scandal. Do anything to make yourself larger than life and shine more brightly than those around you. Make no distinction between kinds of attention. Notoriety or any sort notoriety or any sort will bring you power. Better to be slandered and attacked than ignored.
Okay.
Which is something that I 100% agree. Which is, I don't know if you disagree, but it is better to be slandered and attacked than ignored, because when you're ignored, you're irrelevant.
Well, yeah, but this only applies, and he actually says who this applies to on page 47. In the middle of the page before the quote, it says, the worst fate in the world for a man who yearns fame, glory, and of course power is to be ignored. So already it's like, this is saying, like, in reality, like, I mean, what? Page 47.
Oh, show 46, sorry.
So like, you see it?
Sorry, no, keep.
So basically,
yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
So he's basically saying, if you're someone that wants either power, glory, or fame, then you need to apply this, right? And even someone who said this was 𝗙 Lopez, right? I remember I saw a course of 𝗙 Lopez a long time ago, years ago, and he said, if you want to be known or like really pop up in social media, you got to say controversial things. Now, in the video, maybe later on, you can then go into detail and really explain yourself, but that's how you're going to gain attention. Either you're doing something completely different or you say controversial things, right? And that is why, for example, I'll give you a great example who does this well is Jake Paul, right? Jake Paul, who goes into these boxing matches, before he goes to fight someone, all the marketing he does, right? He goes off on these scandals, gossips, rumors. He goes hard on them. Or like, for example, he tries to bring down the reputation of Dana White, owner and of the UFC. He's trying to put eyeballs on him, saying controversial things, and he gets more and more eyeballs. That I think he got even one of the biggest fights on Netflix with Mike Tyson not so long ago. So this does work, but you have to be ready to do this and to take this. And this is not so easy, because you will get lots of hate. And especially in a world now where like everyone has access to everyone now, and you can get interviewed and people can talk bad about you and completely take you out of context and give you a certain rep, and then you got to undo it, and it becomes a whole thing. But if this is what you want, then this is the way you have to do it. And the example he keeps talking about is P.T. Barnum. He knew how to do this, and he was effective at it.
Right. And that's why I said in the previous, because I'm going to connect it a little bit to reputation.
Okay.
How there are some things, I guess it depends on the severity of the criticism, the severity of the rumor that's trying to damage your reputation, and where you respond to it or you don't, right? Okay. Because in the same page as what you said, Keys to Power, on the bottom, it says, Barnum, like we just spoke about, we have seen welcomed personal attacks and felt no need to defend himself. So I would assume that there were certain ones where he did defend himself, maybe not through his words but through his actions, but there were others where personal attacks would come through, but he felt no need to say something to them, maybe because those people were irrelevant, stuff like that, right? That being said, it is very controversial but interesting that if you want to have this type of life, because you said, right, this would only apply to people who want power, to the people who want glory, to the people who want attention, the people who maybe have some type of fame, some type of influence, how you cannot discriminate the types of attention, because there would be good and there would be bad attention, but you have to welcome it in a sense, because that is what's getting you the viewership in a sense, right? It's like even you and me now. People are gonna look at this podcast.
You're about to say something controversial. I'm waiting for it.
Well, no, not even. People are gonna look at this podcast and be like, there's gonna be two types of people. It's gonna be like, who the fuck are these two niggas? Like
God.
Like,
and who's the second one?
Like, they're gonna look at me and like, who's this super? Like,
who's this super?
that has no college degree. He's a dumbass, right? Right. Wow. But that's the type of hate and viewership we have to welcome, right? Because it's like, you're still feeding into, you know, what I'm saying, right? Like you're still giving me that viewership, that fame, in a sense, quote unquote, that I want, right? Well, there'll be the other type of viewership that'll be like, oh wow, whatever they're saying is very interesting. I kind of, you know, relate to the experiences that they're saying, or the information that they're displaying. I've also learned a lot from it, right? Whether we get one or the other, more of one, more of the other, that's the type of, you know,
viewership
that we have to accept, that we have to want, because you're always going to have both sides, right? You're going to have the people that love you, and you're going to have the people that hate you. That's why a lot of people that are influencers or have some type of, you know, attention in this life, always welcome the hates, because it fuels them, right? And I don't think the haters notice how this actually, you know, feeds into their pockets.
Of course, yeah, and helps them become wealthier, probably, yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm not sure if it's in this one or that one.
Which
because
page?
in the story, because I don't want to jump to the other one.
Yeah, to part 2 yet.
Yeah, he talked about how he would write anonymously.
He would write anonymous letters, yes, to complain.
Right. So that's
I think that was in the previous one.
That's in this one. No.
It's in this one?
Yeah, hold up. Let me try to find it.
Because there's a lot here about him. Oh yes, you're right. Yes, page 46.
No.
Oh no?
I found it on 47. Where did you find it on 46? Hold up.
Oh no, wait. You might be right. Where'd you find it? Tell me.
Page 47, paragraph 2. It says at the beginning of the title, to spend your energy on attracting attention, blah blah blah.
Yes, you're right. Yes, it says he would even write anonymous attacks on his own work,
right,
just to keep his name in the papers. Yeah, I see.
No matter how badly his shows were reviewed, or how slanderously personal attacks, personal worthy attacks on his hoaxes, Barnum would never complain. Yes. And a newspaper critic reviled him in particularly badly. In fact, he would make sure to invite the man to an opening and give him the best seat in the house, which is another tactic.
Which is interesting. Yes.
Right. It's like, okay, you know what? You're writing some, you know,
bad reviews.
Some bad reviews. Some what's the word?
Critique.
Some. I was gonna say salacious. I don't know if that's a word.
I think it is, but maybe not in the right context right now. I'm not sure. Yeah,
sorry. But he would invite these critics, and he would put them in the best seat, which I think is a great tactic in a sense, where it could cause, you know, that critic to change their mind, because you're also showing a different side of your reputation. I mean, it's a risk, but at the same time, he would welcome in the point that I was trying to focus on, was that he would write anonymous attacks of his own work just to keep his name in the papers. So he understood the importance of staying relevant, in a sense, because that's something he wanted. Therefore, to not lose the attention of others, not only he would invite the people that would write good about him, I'm sure that if he would not see any bad critics of him or any bad reviews, he would still write them. Why? Because that's what, you know, keeps people talking, right? That's like free advertising in a sense, right?
It is, yeah.
in a sense, you're advertising yourself, and people are like, oh, who must have wrote this? Who wanted to stay anonymous and, you know, write all this bad things of the show? And in reality, it was him, and he never wanted to respond to it, which in a sense gave him more power.
Because he had control of most things. That's why.
Right.
He was
That's why you
controlling
must
the
stay in
narrative.
control.
Wow.
You must stay in
Yes.
control at all times. Do not let her control you. I'm joking.
Aaron's new pill. Stay in control. Like it.
Stay in control.
Sponsored by.
Well, now that you advertise that, I think we should
make a pill.
Make a pill. Always stay in control. Higher boosts testosterone. The lowers estrogen.
What are the ingredients, Aaron?
You're
clearly a pharmacist.
Well, a lot of zinc, magnesium, some boron, lots of ashwagandha in there. You know.
Wow.
You know,
the most basic ingredient. Wow.
You know,
is boron even a thing? Is that
boron,
a thing? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
I probably meant biotin, but biotin is just to make your hair grow.
Did you make that up? Make your hair grow? What the heck? Wait, I gotta see now if boron is a real thing. You ready?
It's gotta be a real thing.
Let me see. Boron. Wait, boron.
I can't be,
How you spell that?
Well, in my head I spelled it BORON.
It is.
It is
a thing. Yes.
You see,
it's a chemical element. It's a chemistry thing. You were good in chemistry. It has symbol B and it's atomic number 5.
See, I know what I'm talking about. I know how to sell a product. Like, come on.
Let's see. What does boron do to the body? Actually, it helps with bone health, brain function, hormone regulation, and potentially reduce inflammation. Oh, wow.
Thank you. You see?
Wow.
I don't just talk bullshit, guys. I talk that good bullshit.
That was funny.
I think I must have like consciously, maybe subconsciously, like through all the reading and the chemistry and study that I've done, even in now that applies to like fitness and stuff, I must have heard that like,
and you just
that
said it.
word, and I kind of just like repeated it. Yeah.
But yeah, for him, as you mentioned, for him the most important thing was the attention, and he didn't care what quality, or if it was negative or positive. He wouldn't care as long as he was relevant, and the attention was on him and his show and what he was doing, and so he can sell more tickets and more people can come to his shows, right? And I think that really works if you're trying to be in that world. But I think maybe not completely like this, but somewhat this can also help like the normal Joe. So yeah.
Yeah, no, of course it could definitely help the normal Joe. I mean, I believe there's also the opposite in where attention is good for you, but I don't know if you in page 48, it talks about a little bit about Thomas Edison, how there was attention for him, but there was also a competitive attention for this guy called
Tesla.
What's his name? Tesla, right? And there was potential. There was going to be in 1915. I mean, there was a Nobel's Prize winner in physics, and instead of sharing that attention with Tesla, because technically they both had won, who ended up winning? A pair of English physicists ended up winning that Nobel Prize because Thomas Edison refused to share that prize with Tesla. So we see how attention could be good because he wanted to remain in power, which is honestly a great tactic, because until this day, I believe we know more the name Thomas Edison than this guy named Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, right? Probably, yeah.
So instead of sharing that glory, that attention with someone else that could elevate them and maybe keep you at the same level, if not put you lower, he ended up not taking that Nobel Prize, or maybe it could have been like a great achievement for him in his life, and maybe it would have never put the other person above him, but because of that competitive nature and that, I guess, thought of or probability of that person, you know, fame or name overcoming yours, He was like, I'm not willing to take the chance. Therefore, I prefer to not achieve that accomplishment and just, stay where I'm at as long as I'm above this person.
And from the story or from like the rest of Law 6, how would you say that a normal person, let's say someone who's not in a CEO position or COO or someone who's an influencer, someone who's not like acting or famous, but like more of a like, maybe more of a normal job, either it pays well or doesn't, how could they use like, let's say, Law 6 to their advantage, like at work
Mm.
or in other aspects of their life? Like, what do you think from what you read or from what you understand and so forth?
I mean, measures and be judged by its appearance. Well, one of the things that Law 6 says is stand out,
Yes.
right? So, make yourself larger than life and shine more brightly those around you. If you're at work and you want to be able to grow in the company, as an example, then you're gonna have to stand out. You're gonna have to be different. It also says do anything to make yourself seem larger than life and shine more brightly than those around you. So that being said, I believe it's pretty self-explanatory in where if I'm in a corporation, a job, and I work with a group of people, and there's a goal that I want to get to or an opportunity that might present itself real soon, but I have maybe competition around me or people that might want, to obtain the same position, there is something else I need to do. There's something else I might have to do to stand out. I might have to go the extra mile when it comes to maybe doing certain tasks and make myself different. Therefore, the attention that I gather doing that, all the brightness and all the light focus is on me because I was able to do something that others weren't or others didn't want to, in a sense, right? Therefore, all that attention maybe of in this scenario of ownership of your manager of stuff of people in those higher places, instead of maybe focusing on the person that is probably more qualified or maybe let's paperwork qualified more than you, in a sense, their attention is not on them but diverted to you just because of the attention you brought to yourself. So I believe in a workplace that would be an ideal thing to do. I think we all do that, maybe consciously or subconsciously, when we want to, achieve a certain position in a job. You just got to work harder, but that might require for you to be different and to stand out.
But how different? And like, let's say someone was under you and they wanted to go up the ladder. What would you have to see them do differently to promote them or to help them or to give them a chance or whatever the case is? Like, what is it that they would have to do differently to show that they're different from the rest of the employees or the crowd?
I believe you would have to show a certain trait that could be applied to different aspects of the job.
Okay, explain.
And in my eyes, in my opinion, that would be sacrifice. Why sacrifice, right? Because sometimes to or at least most of the time to obtain certain jobs or higher position jobs is not only moving up in the ranks in the company, but it can also be maybe taking out certain certificates, certain licenses, certain degrees, whatever the case is. And most of the time to take out this type of paperwork, let's call it, is going to require a sacrifice from yourself to not only study, but during your free time, during time that you're not at work, is going to require you to be somewhere else. It's going to require you to spend the time that you have for yourself or for your activities, for your hobbies, on something you really want. So if you're willing to sacrifice, even if it's temporarily, for something you really want, you're able to sacrifice certain activities, certain things that you might do on your free time to achieve something else, that shows a lot already, that you want to be somewhere. I'm like, okay, you're willing to sacrifice to be somewhere. If I ask, if we have a certain emergency and you need to stay extra hours and it might be inconvenient for you, but I see that you're always willing to stay or sacrifice your time in a sense to, to help, let's say, me out, that quality, and even knowing that, at least in my job, you could leave at 5 if you need to leave at 5 in a sense, right? It only applies to certain people that for emergencies you have to stay. But if you're willing to stay, it's just that type of sacrifice, either outside of the workplace or inside of the workplace, shows that you want to move up, that you want to move forward. Because not everybody is willing, and you'll be surprised, not everybody's willing to sacrifice their time.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Because it's too much for them. They want to do something else. They're stuck on old habits. And during these times, it might be very may be very boring, may be very lonely. Other stuff in life that are or shouldn't be as important. You might not progress in it right now just because it's on a temporary hold. And you have to be okay with that. While in this aspect of life that you're trying to, go up in, you're excelling, but it's temporary.
Got you.
Right? So I believe sacrifice would definitely be a big trait for me.
Is there another, like a secondary one, or is this like the biggest one in your field? I'm just curious before we go to part 2.
I mean, I think attitude.
Okay.
Well, wait, can you remind me your question, just because I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly?
Basically, other than sacrifice, which it sounds like that's like really the most important one, what is another way that someone, like an employee or someone that wanted to go up the ladder, what's that other thing they would have to show you, that other quality thing they would have to show you that they're different?
Don't outshine the master.
Wow. There it goes, guys. There it goes. Wow, we're going full circle here from law number 1. Is that law 1? Yeah, that is law 1, right?
Is it? I think it's...
Yeah, never outshine the master, yes.
Never outshine the master. As long as they don't outshine me,
then
we shall
fine.
be...
Then
we're in a great place.
You'll go up the ladder.
And if I see you outshine me, I will behead you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody, you heard it here live.
No, I think one of them is, the most important is sacrifice, and I don't know if it would fall second, but at least right now the thing that comes to mind would be attitude. No one wants to come to a workplace where your attitude is bad, right? And you could be doing all that sacrifice, but if you're bringing your outside problems into work, or you have mood swings, unacceptable. Like, you're fired.
So you're basically saying like a lot of people come in with mood swings. So,
mood swings, bringing stuff outside of work, it's the bad energy, right? We everywhere we because energy is very contagious. You transfer that.
Okay.
And listen, we all go through stuff in life. We all have our battles. But if you're gonna bring that, virus into work, and really
virus,
and bring us down and bring our energy down, then I don't want you around, no matter how much sacrifice you're doing, right?
Wow.
Because these things go hand in hand, right? I'm not asking for you to every day be in a good mood, because I understand there are certain things that will affect even you in the work because of how extreme they could be. But you're gonna have to learn how to grow up, be a man, and compartmentalize these feelings. And when we're at work, we're at work.
Gotcha.
Simple.
Even if they're a woman, you're saying same thing.
I was talking to the men.
Oh, okay. What about the women?
There's a double standard. Uh, but it's I don't know. It's just a double standard. And listen, there's a bunch of double standards in life, and we accept them. Uh there are certain things that I don't understand being a woman, like having a period and stuff like that. Like, but sometimes at the same time, listen, you're at work. You know, we try to separate those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm also very biased because I don't work with women.
That's true. You don't.
I work mostly with
I forgot.
men, right?
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And these men sometimes be acting mad feminine. So it's like
Really? Wow.
sometimes I prefer to work with women. You feel me? Like,
Got you, bro. They're gonna take this podcast and they're gonna send it to all your coworkers. You guys be acting mad feminine. That's what they're gonna click. That's what they're gonna take out.
no. My two current ones are great.
Oh, okay, good.
But
Got you.
they're just, there might be in other people, but they might take this out of context to damage my reputation.
That's true.
So make sure we talk about everything that I've been saying right now, not just this one line.
All right, then. All right. I'm gonna read part 2, if that's cool.
Okay,
You ready?
go. Yeah.
It says, create an air of mystery in a world growing increasingly banal or banal. I've heard both ways, and familiar. What seems enigmatic instantly draws attention. Never make it too clear what you're doing or about to do. Do not show all your cards. An air of mystery heightens your presence. It also creates anticipation. Everyone will be watching you to see what happens next. Use mystery to beguile, seduce, even frighten. Yeah. So this is
Wow.
the second part of the 6th law. And I think you have a very good story in the world of dating on how you use this. Don't say her name, but I think you have a good story on how you created an air of mystery.
Well, I
Right?
would never want to be rude to this person,
Of course not.
so I shall say her. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, we had previously talked about this, and it had reminded me of how mystery could be a great thing when it comes to dating.
Yes, very true.
And there
Very
was
true.
just, let's do a long story short. There was one time this
Yeah.
individual that exists on Earth.
Was it a female, a man? Who was it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding. No judgment, I don't.
you,
No, just kidding.
you're gonna get me into some controversial opinions here.
Very true. All right, so this person, okay.
Yeah, there was this female
Mm-hmm.
at a fast food chain restaurant that
Mm-hmm.
I had just been going to,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to approach this individual just because they were very attractive, at
Mm-hmm.
least at the time, and
Okay. Oh wow.
I wanted to see if we can exchange numbers and stuff like that. But I didn't want it to be just a plain old, I think you're cute. Can
I
I get
think
your
you
number?
can I get your number? Do you wanna come with me to McDonald's? Like, what's up? I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
So it's like I didn't
Uh-huh.
want it to be too bland. I wanted to keep it mysterious. And so we ended up having this, quick conversation, which I didn't end up getting this person's number at the first try. I ended up getting it at the second because not that I tried once. It was more like I kept the first interaction of ours very mysterious, therefore led on to the second. It was just a quick interaction on like, normal, like, hey, how are you? How's your day going? And then she had
Uh-huh.
asked me that question back, and I was
Ooh.
like, oh, a little crazy, just saw a dead person today, but nothing
Oh, that's
else.
so good. Wait,
Right. So
what? The
it's
dead
like,
person?
it kind of like, what? Like,
Uh-huh.
catches you off guard for sure.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of like, her face was like, whoa, like, really? Like, what do you do? And I was like, I'd be happy to tell you, but right now I can't disclose that just because of, the type of work I do.
Wow. Like, whoa, what do you do?
So that kind of, I would assume kept her on her toes a bit. And not that we ended the conversation like that, but that was the main mystery
The air of
of
mystery,
the
yeah.
end. That was my aura. You feel me?
Wow. Wow.
That
Girls,
was
if you talk to Aaron, he's always gonna tell you something mysterious. Always.
that was my mystery
Yeah.
into, in a sense, right, of what I did. And I didn't disclose it, you know, our first interaction, but I ended up coming, I believe, a few days later back to that same place. Ended up bumping into this individual again,
Mm.
and this person wanted to guess what I did.
Oh,
Gave me a bunch
okay.
of guesses, you know, because, you know, at least fortunately there was no line behind, so we can have a little
Yeah,
bit of
because
a
this
longer
wouldn't work if there was a
conversation.
line. They're like, yo, shut up and hurry up.
Yo, stop flirting, like keep it moving, like, you
Keep
know.
it moving. Just tell us that you're a psycho. Yeah, you killed the dead guy. We heard it last time, and we came back to listen to the rest. You and your dumb stories, you liar. This guy works at Kentucky Fried, bro. The only dead thing he's been seeing is chickens. That's it.
You manipulator. But um yeah, no, I just
Uh-huh.
even then I didn't even end up giving her the answer. I just, you know, I kept telling her she was wrong.
Okay.
But at the end of the conversation, I was like, "Hey, I think you're very attractive. You're very cute. You mind if I, you know, get your number? We go out, you know, for some drinks or go on a little date."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, no problem. I think you're cute as well. This and that." And then they gave me her number. Went
And
well.
this the story ends
End of
there. Okay.
story.
Okay, and this uh-huh.
um, but yeah, that was like applying it, you know, back to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
law
yeah, yeah.
number 6. Creates an air of mystery.
Okay.
Never make it too clear what you are doing or about to do or what you do, right? Like in my
Mm.
case.
I don't see
Um,
that part, sir, here.
yeah, no,
Where'd you
I
put that?
added it to
Oh,
the
you
book. Thank
added
you,
it.
so,
Oh.
you know,
Oh, okay. Robert Greene.
this
Continue.
they forgot to add me as an author here.
Oh,
Um,
clearly. Yes, you're right.
clearly.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna look at this pocket and what's this arrogant asshole, you
They're like, wow, these guys are not funny.
know?
Okay, and then?
Okay, so this was a very interesting second part of the chapter of the same law number 6. Just
Mm-hmm.
because mystery does create some type of aura, some type of confusion towards the person that you're displaying it to.
Mm-hmm.
And it can make you shine. It can make that
Yeah.
fame go to you. They give a quick observance of the law here, where there was this girl called Mata Hari,
Yeah.
where she would do a certain type of dance, and she would say that she got it from like old Hindu and Japanese melodies. Interestingly enough, just to go to the end of the story, this was all made up.
Uh-huh.
This wasn't who she was, but her charm and the way I guess she would hypnotize, not hypnotize, but
Yeah, hypnotize.
um,
Yeah, hypnotize
yeah,
the
yeah,
word.
hypnotize the crowd and the people in her dances and with
Her
the culture,
mystery.
her mystery, the culture that she said that she was coming from, the type of life that she lived. It would just really the attention grabber was amazing. But towards the end of the story, we see that she actually was not from Java or India, not had grown up in the Orient, and did not have an ounce or a drop of Eastern blood in her body. As a matter of fact, she had a totally different name, and she was even executed as a German spy.
I know. They accused her of being a German
So,
spy. They killed her.
so which is crazy. But the way that she ended up gathering that fame or get where she was before she was ever caught was through that mysterious vibe, in a sense of who this woman was. And even in the interpretation in page 51, it says that this air of mystery left the public always wanting to know more, always wondering about her next move. And not that she was more beautiful than many of the other younger girls, and not that she was just a better dancer, but what separated her from the mass was that she attracted and held the public's attention that made her famous and wealthy. It was
Yeah.
her mystery. So, you know, sometimes you see the fame on certain people, and it's not always about who does something the best, or who does it better than the other person. There are plenty of people that do it better than maybe you or someone else. But it's not necessarily who does it best. It's maybe, at least in this case, who's using that trait of mysteriousness, which is grasping the attention of others, making it seem like she does it best.
Yep.
Right?
Hit it on the nail.
While there is a realistic point of view that maybe there is someone who does it way better, but you're missing out on a trait that could really get you the fame that you could potentially get, and you actually have the skill.
Mm-hmm.
But this person just having the skill of mysterious has, excelled much more further than you, not having the skill of the dancer, not having the beauty. It's just using one simple trait, which is mystery. So I found that extremely compelling, extremely fascinating when it came to the story of hers. I don't know if you want to mention something.
What I would say is that what I thought was, for me, the most important part of this second part is the why does this work? And it has to do, again, basic psychological principle. We as humans like to interpret, because we as humans, we don't like to have unknown, right? And when I was reading this, I thought of magic, like card tricks and mentalism, right?
I mean, you know a little bit about this.
I only did it for like 8 years, 9 years, right? So
That's it.
that's
That's
it.
it. Just a decade.
And I mean, you were also exposed to some of you would watch my
Yes, I did.
tricks and you learn some of the stuff. It's like when people are watching a magic show, like let's say you're watching a card trick, you see the
Yeah.
card disappear here, goes over there, goes into my pocket, it's behind your ear. Oh my God, now the 4 aces are everywhere. Oh, the deck changed color. It's like, it's that mystery, like you don't know what's going to happen next. So the person's thinking, okay, how's he doing this? Or where did the card go? We're trying to fill in the gaps. So on page 52, it says on the second paragraph, to keys
Yeah,
to
I see it.
power,
Hmm.
it says it invites layers of interpretation, excites our imagination, seduces us into believing that it conceals something marvelous. Right now, and again, this can apply for dating or even for other components of our life. And what I love is that the author wrote that in order to create this air of mystery, you don't have to do anything big, or you don't have to be like awe-inspiring and grandiose. Like you don't have to. And clearly, the example of this woman, what was her name, Matahari. It says she wasn't the most beautiful. She wasn't the most talented. She wasn't even the best dancer. She wasn't even she was so average.
Yeah, it literally says
This woman
average
was
appearance and
average.
intelligence.
Everything was average. Everyone always thinks,
Yeah.
oh, if you're gonna be unique, you got to be this grandiose person. That's not necessarily true, and even shows you how for a normal person, let's say, right? Well, let's say most of us fall into like quote unquote normal life, right? We can be mysterious, be subtle, like don't say everything, or say something a certain way that's different, or cut yourself off, or do something a little bit, do something but in a unique way. There's very different forms of being mysterious that get people guessing. Of course, you don't always want to do this because you don't want to
Hmm.
upset the wrong person, or like have the wrong person think of you as like a weirdo, right? And then they fire you, or you don't get the job, or you don't get the part. Um, right? So anyone can do this. It's just about, I think you have to premeditate, know yourself, and say, okay, what's something that I'm doing that I can make it a little bit different in this one context, and it will make me stand out. It'll make me stand out, and then more people will come to me or ask me more questions, and so forth. And this applies to intellectuality, the creative, for work, as you mentioned, especially for dating. And I think it's really just about premeditating on your life and how you can do it, and you'll see the results of it. So yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. Even in the page 52, it mentions how most people are upfront. They could be like an
Mm-hmm.
open book, take little
Yes.
care to control their words or image, and
Mm-hmm.
are hopelessly predictable. So when you become a person like that, you take away the mystery.
Correct.
Right. But instead, if you speak a little less, stay a little silent, maybe not you know, be a little bit more of a closed book, that's where you start to have other people start to like interpret, start to try to read you. Like, what does this person have? Or why is he acting this way? And it makes you a very mysterious person. Therefore, you gather more attention rather than the person that's just always blatantly honest and just talking about their life, right? You just want to give you want to give enough, not too much. You just want to give enough. There's an expression I don't remember that I would love to remember right now. It talks about I only I would have to ask one of my coworkers. Like I only give knowledge per request or per situation that we're going through. I'm gonna come back at this. I don't remember. But it's interesting how when it comes to the quality or the trait, sorry, of mystery, the book also mentions in page 53 how all great leaders know that an aura of mystery draws attention to them and creates intimidating presence. Why? And you can make this part of your reputation as well, as we talked about in the previous law. Creates an intimidating presence. Why? Because you don't know what to expect. So imagine your reputation is already fear, right? And you gather so much attention through that because of the mystery that you display. Then the attention that you're getting is not only mysterious, but it's also part of your reputation, or it can become part of your reputation. Therefore, if you're a great leader and you're trying to maintain control of your group of people, of your country and stuff like that, you can't just behave or be like an average person in a sense where you have to make people want to find out more about you or see where are you trying to be headed? Where are you headed towards? What is your goal through this decision? And maybe you might not say at the moment, but in the short term, it might not be, you know, visible, but in the long term it is. And they will eventually find out maybe just right now is not the time.